And we are kicking off with Michael, who is somewhere in the Midlands. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Tony.
Hello, Michael. It's Alan.
Yeah, Alan, sorry.
That's all right. What can I do for you, mate?
It's getting the message out there that, I am doing a letter called And the Journey, which will be around the Midlands, the North East, and up to Glasgow. So I suffered for 30 years with issues with alcohol, drugs, homeless. Over the years, realising adoption and many things, doctors, getting antidepressant tablets, etc. Nothing seemed to work. Counsellors, and then 6 months ago, I went to Redcar and went on a course called Strength to Succeed.
Right, sounds good.
Which is by a guy called Steve Green. Which, if anybody looked him up on the YouTube, anything else, he's done a load for his area, and he's all about giving back. He did the Homeless Millionaire, which can be seen on YouTube.
Right.
But he put this course on, which was for free, with people with issues and from all walks of life. I went up there. I was invited up there, free. Went up, and the end of the second day, I listened to everybody's stories. Realised, obviously, I'm not the only one with problems. Because prior to going up, I had done some boxing. I'd also, when I thought things were picking up, I'd had a stroke, and that knocked me back years.
Yeah, I bet.
Went up there, went on the stage thinking sort of nothing to lose, and Steve said he could take basically my problems away. Got up there on the stage with Steve on the second day, and basically just got me to open up, did some work with me, about half an hour on that stage. Just got to throw me simply my problems away, and it was of the mindset of saying, yeah, I can, and I will, and I can achieve things. That simple message, it got to me to sort of box my problems up, if you like, and throw them away. And I pretty much put down on stage, because although this was a lot of rubbish that I'd held on to, I was used to the stuff. But I threw it away. I came back, and the work Steve did, basically I woke up the next morning with all I can describe it is a clear mind, probably the first time in years.
Great.
And just all I can describe is wanted to get up and do stuff, and whether that was having a shave, doing some housework, a shower, going for a walk. And then basically in 6 months, I started to train harder. I got back in the ring and had a fight. I started doing some 5K runs. In 6 months, they went up to 20K. I will be doing the Manchester Marathon in April. For Dementia UK, Alzheimer's UK.
Right. That's fantastic.
Sorry, say again, Alan.
No, it's fantastic. I always think that a lot of you guys, that you get yourself into a rut, and you need somebody to actually get into the rut with you and almost kick you out of there. And well done, Steve Green, for being the catalyst, because look at what you've done just up until now. What are you going to be capable of for the next 5, 10, 15 years? Blame, it's going to be amazing to watch.
Yeah, and then the biggest piece is sort of I'm back up there this weekend, the Jury Inn in Middlesbrough. There's another Strength to Succeed, and this time I'll actually be on the stage telling my story. So to go in 6 months from sort of being up there lost to now telling my story.
Well, now you'll be the Steve Green for other people and help them through it. That's tremendous.
But what I'll be doing is, and it was about giving back. So I came up with an idea, which has just got huge, which was about people like go on this seminar, if you like, that I've got to know, but just random people as well. And what I'll be doing around the Midlands, around the North East, the Glasgow, the Lake District and Leeds. End of April, I'll be setting off for 3 days in my car with my car and my tent,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to go to somebody that agrees, get them to write a positive letter to somebody else. I will deliver that letter to somebody else and get a letter from them, and them letters are just positive letters that
Right.
somebody will open saying, go and achieve your dreams, things can get better, etc. And I think I have about 95 people lined up, and this is just, it will be to some of the homeless, to some rehab clinics,
Yeah.
businessmen,
It's
etc.
a
So I will
great
do
start.
a 1,500-mile
Mm.
trip end of April.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, well, good on you, Michael. I mean, the hardest thing in the world is to turn your life around when you've gone into one of these lulls and you don't feel you can get out of it. And well done to Steve Green and everything he's doing down there in Redcar.
Yeah, thank you. And just to anybody out there that is listening, that, again, from me personally going through things serious, there is ways out, yeah, and it's just that attitude.
When can they come and see you on stage then? If they feel maybe that they've got a bit in common with you and they want to...
So, yes, if anybody messages through to, looks up Stephen Green
Right.
and Strength to Succeed and messages there,
Great.
it's a free event, but if they message Steve, sure they'll get an invite back through.
Fantastic. Hey, I hope it goes really well. Congratulations, Michael. I'm proud of you, mate. Well done.
No, thank you. Thank you for your time.
No worries. Bye-bye. I'm sorry, but at first I wasn't sure where that was going, but he got on track. And how easy is it for good people to find themselves in bad places? Blame me. On Night Owls, we hear these stories time after time, and it's just great to hear somebody that says, well, hang on, that's where I was. Look at where I am now, and well done to him. Oh, and hang on a second. I recognise that name. Up next, we've got Dr. Anand from Newcastle upon Tyne. Hello, Doc.
Hi, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well. Good to hear from you. What you been up to now?
Well, as you know, I've been in difficult places too, and look what I'm doing now. I keep getting myself into trouble and coming out smelling of roses, shall we say. I'm standing as a Tory candidate in Gosford,
What?
in the area where I've lived and worked for all my life, really.
Right. It's how do you become a councillor then? I've got no idea. How does it work? Can you just say, I'm going to become one and then...
Oh, no. Just like you came on the radio, I had a chap called Aidan Ruff, a very whiz kid, genius, who invented something, and he came on radio time and again. I got to know him well.
Right.
And then I was asked, would you do the North of Tyne mayoral interview? So I sent out to everybody, just like the BBC, please come. Nobody bothered except him. So this is Charlie Holt.
Right.
You know, the millionaire generations from Walker.
Uh-huh.
Got to know the guy well. Then you dress up in Indian clothes and go to Alnwick Castle, arrive late, and then get noticed. Then he calls you to the bar and you get noticed. And then suddenly somebody phones and says on the 10th of October, would you like to be a councillor, Tory councillor?
Right. Why did you pick the Tories then, Dr. Anand? Because you've got a choice.
All right. I picked the Tories because I came from India to do well, to do something.
Right.
I came with a third of £1 million worth of medical degree. I
Wow.
could have started in India, but I just wanted to expand. And it's harder in a poorer country to do your own thing.
Mm.
Here, the basics are looked after. Electricity flows, telephone work, there's a health service. But it's become so staid, I thought. And I went into a very, very old-fashioned practice where there was no appointment system. And I had done the vocational training scheme. I'm an aspirant. I always want to do better, like a Japanese guy, Kaiser.
Right.
How could I fit in any other party but the Tories? Because I did a 2-year part-time counseling degree while I was a doctor.
Right.
I did the complementary therapy. Anything that's different.
Right.
What I can't stand is stagnation, you know.
Mm.
And, you know, the GPs particularly, I'm sorry to say, they're all independent contractors. They are private.
Mm.
GPs are not government servants, but they behave like government servants. 9 to 5 we do surgery. No, I did 8 to 10 and the evening 5 to 7.
Right.
I did Saturday surgery. I lived on my surgery premises.
Mm.
Nobody bothered me, you know. So it's only the Tories who have that wisdom, who have that wit, who have, especially Tories of today. And, you know, people have all sorts of, I love the guys. The other parties are so set in their ways. You can't move. You're like swimming in molasses in the other parties.
Yeah, but I mean, just to play devil's advocate here, though, Doc. I mean, it sounds like you're going you're going with the money, you're going where the power is at the moment because the rest are in disarray.
Well, and I went in, did not know that Mr. Boris would win, did I? He might have won by 2 seats. This is gone.
Right.
I put in 69 hours in 25 days. 69 hours and -3 degrees, wet and rain.
Sure.
I don't know, I'll die, but I'll do this. That's my style.
No, we wish you well, and we wish your competitors well. We've got to be fair to everybody.
Yeah, be fair to them.
But on saying that, you've had so many incredible adventures over the years. I remember one of the, and we've met on a good number of occasions. But I remember on one of them you said, "Oh, I've just come back from Palestine."
Absolutely.
And I've just been shot at, and I was with journalists, and yet the Israelis were shooting at you, presumably because they didn't want the story to get out.
Well, also, both sides are very frightened, and if there's tear gas on your clothes, while you're going out, which country bothers you when you're going out? But they're so sensitive. So we had to wash all our clothes and wash our boots. Didn't smell of tear gas.
Right.
And all the SIM cards I had from my camera, I posted them back to the Beacon building so they couldn't check me.
Right.
And it's the only country where you'll severely check me on the way out. But on the banks of the Tyne, I met this dude with a Texan hat, pointy shoes and alligator. And I said to you, could I know your name? You said Alan Robson. I said, not the Alan Robson. You said, yes. That's the first time I physically met you.
I remember it well. We were doing some television something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, BBC was televising us, and they were asking, is it right? There was a poor Pakistani doctor who had gone to Syria or somewhere to help. And
that's right. Yeah.
And I said, it's not right, I mean, people are so cocooned in the sense of safety in Britain. But the other countries are not as safe. The police are not as looking after you. So we get the wrong false sense. You go to even India, you have to be careful. You can be pickpocketed, you can be robbed.
No, sure, of course.
But things are much better here. I've left my shoulder bag on a bus twice, and it comes back. That wouldn't happen in America. Never mind India. So,
Well,
we have a false sense of security in this country.
Can I ask you though a question about over the last probably 3.5, 4 years since the whole Brexit thing burst?
Yeah.
There seem to have been, and I've seen it with my own eyes in the part of the world that you love as well as I do. I've seen racism raise its head. I've seen people shouted and howled at the street by morons. Have you felt that more as a community then?
I never meet racism. I give it back as good as I get. But there are people telling me and teaching. It takes two to tango. I was sitting in the church yesterday with the church hall opposite Baruga Bar. The other church. I'm sitting with my friend Ollie. And the woman says, white bread or brown? I said, brown for me, white for him. I laugh at these silly things. Then she said, what sauce? I said, the red one, not the brown sauce. You and I've had a lot of chat. It takes, when you come to a new country, you should see what's good in it and adopt. I mean, it's not all one-sided.
Sure.
It's not just a white man being nasty. We also have to mix and integrate and also the council, I can't understand why they put all the Bengalis in Hood Street. All that, if the people choose to, that's their stupidity. But I've come to England, it's nice to have a few white friends occasionally,
No, absolutely. But the thing about you has always been the case. It's never been one community. You've always been, frankly, sticking your nose in everybody's community because it's our community. It's all ours.
I was in Heaton Mosque today for a friend of mine, a very recent friend whose father had died. Right. But it's also say, look, we are all together, and mixing with white people is so easy, but mixing with Pakistani, Bengali, Hindu, Afghanistan, Chinese, black, so they all look at me very suspiciously. What's he doing here?
No, and do you think things are getting better then? Do you think
so.
We're making progress?
Well, I think so. When the Asians, one fellow wrote on my Facebook site, how as a minority are you voting Tory? I said, the day I put my foot down from the aeroplane, I'm not a minority. You will remain a minority till your death. I'm not. I'm part of this community.
Right.
And it's true, And, people complain about Enoch Powell. I said, he's long dead, You've got a Pakistani and 3 Indians in the cabinet. I mean, for God's sake, isn't that proof? And do you know that and the Quran, not the Bible, not in nominal. So this country does respect, and when we see good things, we should encourage it. We shouldn't just sit and moan. I think too many of us Asians have learned the British habit of, the bus came late. No, it doesn't come late. Once in 10 days, it comes late. Usually, it does come on time.
Yes.
Because moaning takes up so much energy. I mean, you're not like that. You're always upbeat. Things happen. You don't care. You move on. You laugh. You joke. You make.
For sure. Well, that's the way you have to be. But you see, the thing that a lot of people don't see, they don't see the happy and the laughy within communities that they I suppose the word tolerate, they live alongside. Why is it that so few people are willing to just say, hello, how you doing, and all of this to people that they live the next street away from? Because I hate that whole clique thing.
There is a thing called in ancient Indian philosophy. It's not Hindu, it's the culture of it. It's called advait, means non-duality. I was sitting in the bus yesterday, right? And this 2.5-year-old girl had a little mobile phone in her hand. And I don't know why she looked at me and kept saying, no, like her mother would tell her off. And I would say, yes, just do tease. This old lady and her husband and the young daughter came and sat next to me. She said, that one has started very early, like. I said, she has an arm. Then she says to me, are you a doctor? I said, man, this is Turnbull. I'm your doctor. I'm with a mustache. Hey, you are Anand. And then she said, what are you wearing? That Tory badge for? I said, that's why I wore. She said, I've gone off you. I won't talk to you. I said, you used to be pretty and smart once upon a time. I feel that the bus people are laughing, I feel comfortable with anyone. If I sit among white people or pink people, whatever you call them, I don't feel different, If you feel different, they will treat you different.
No, well, right from the very beginning, there was so many things that you and I had in common about, the way that we believed in people as much as anything else.
Yeah.
And that certainly hasn't changed. But hey, Dr. Anand, as I say, I've got to wish everybody well who's standing to be counsellor, but I will be watching this space. Thank you so much for coming on, and love to you, Doc.
Great pleasure. Nice to hear your voice all over again.
Bless you, man.
Long time no see.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And hope to catch you on Spice one day.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to come back there, man. No worries. 01914 488 3188. Give us a call. What do you think? Do you live next to a community of any kind? We've got Jewish communities, Arabian communities, the Sand Dancers in South Shields. Massive Orthodox Jewish community south of the Tyne. North of the Tyne, we have a massive non-Orthodox Jewish community. Chinese community, communities of every description, Bengali, Bangladeshi, Afghanistani, all kinds. Do you live next to a community? Do you mix? And if you don't, why? 01914 488 3188. Harvey's been on. We were talking about the dinners at school. He says, a long time ago when I was in junior school, my favourite school pudding was chocolate, sponge and custard. Yeah, and that was the pink custard in our school. I always stayed for dinner as the food was good. I then changed school, and Alan, the food was disgusting. Dinner ladies from hell served up mashed potato that you could mortar walls with. The gravy could strip your stomach lining, and custard thickened with corn flour. Yuck. Teachers called dinner break feeding time at the zoo, and one of the supervisors would make you eat everything, no matter how awful it was. The last straw came when the boy next to me in the queue vomited because of the smell in the dinner hall. This story does, however, have a happy ending, because following this, I was allowed to go home for my lunch. Yours, Harvey. Now, I was one of the free school meals kids. And so you were humiliated at the beginning of every week, where they'd say, and the whole idea of school meals, free school meals, is so that you feel like everybody else. But at the beginning of each week, during when you were giving your names, they said, okay, who are the free school meals kids? And 3 of us had to put your hand up and then walk the walk of shame to the front and get your chitties, so that every day you could hand one in and get your dinner. I, of course, started flogging chitties, for the days when they didn't have on anything that I fancied, and used the money, with me pocket money, to go and get some curry and chips from the van, which was always a good option. If the van wasn't there, crisps and sweets from the tuck shop. Happy days, whichever way you choose to throw it. But what were the things on your school menus that you stayed for? What were the ones that made the difference to you? I think out of all of it, and we talk about the pudding, and as I say, I can't believe treacle sponge was the choice of the majority to say how great the puddings were. Never particularly bothered with that one, but I will say it did open the door and open my eyes to roast potatoes that were never crispy or crunchy because of the way they were made. They were like big, half-sized potato chips, and they were fantastic. Loved them. What did you love about your school dinners? Pick up your telephone, give us a call, we'll get you on as quick as we can. 0191 488 3188. Now, Chris has sent me an email. I'm in a local band called Black Acid Mavericks. We're playing the City Hall on the 7th of March this year with world-famous boxer Floyd Mayweather. We're also involved with Steve Wraith, who's organising the Mayweather event. And I look at that's on my screen, and I look at who's next, and it's actually Chris from Bedlington himself. Hiya, Chris.
Hi, Alan, you all right?
That's good. Well, okay, congratulations. That sounds fabulous. Tell us about the Black Acid Mavericks. What kind of band are you?
We're a rock band. We play a bit of rock, sort of indie sort of music as well. We've been together since 2018.
Right.
So it's going well at the minute.
Brilliant. That's good news. I gather you've also got a gig with Bad Manners. Blaming you putting yourself about.
Aye, we're getting about at the minute,
That's hey, it's really good. Let's hope everybody watch out for your name. You're doing the City Festival as well. I noticed from your email. When you say indie, do you do your own stuff or are you doing covers?
Yeah, we do originals. We do. Last night we were playing at Think Tanks in Newcastle.
Right.
So we played there with a band called Black Waters. That was a good gig. We enjoyed that. So
great.
Just fantastic.
Keep on
doing the Floyd Mayweather one.
Keep on hammering. I mean, you're the singer, guitarist, songwriter. So doing your songs then.
I do my songs, but obviously the rest of the band are involved as well. I've got the bass player. I've got Josh Dixon on bass. Got Daniel Cooper on the drums. We've got Mickey Robson on guitar. And I do right there on parts as well. So
that's good.
All comes together, lovely.
No, it sounds like you're starting to get the gigs and getting some momentum going. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
We'll be watching for you, man. Good luck.
We've recently played with Alan McGee as well, the bloke that discovered Oasis and Primal Scream.
Right.
That was at the O2.
Were you not sliding him your phone number?
I was trying to, Don't think my girlfriend was impressed.
No, but it's the kind of thing you got to do. You got to schmooze, haven't you, to get on in the music business these days? Because it is literally who you know in a lot of cases. Sad to say, but it's true. Hey, well, keep on keeping on. Lovely to talk to you, mate. Watch what you're doing, and we'll see how far you can take it.
Right, no bother. We've got tickets for sale. Can I just quickly plug that? We've got tickets for sale on our Facebook page, on the Black Acid Mavericks Facebook. And we're doing cheap Bar Manners tickets, and Mayweather's 40 quid. So if anyone fancies it, give us a shout.
Give it a go, absolutely. Good luck, Chris. All the best.
Thanks a lot, Alan.
Thanks, man. Take care. How nice is that? Right, so we have a quick question. Chris the Truck says, quick question for the listeners. Does anybody still use Tinder? Because either I'm doing it wrong or I'm just an ugly bugger. Been on there since August, and I haven't had a sniff, said Chris. Well, Chris, I'm sorry about that. He's also sent a follow-up. I'm just noticing Chris Part 2. Devastating news from the US. Kobe Bryant, the NBA great, died in a helicopter crash, aged 41. He will go down as one of the all-time greats. Yeah, and I know all of the news channels seem to be forgetting it too, but his little lad, who could have been like his dad, could be better than his dad. Who knows? A little boy apparently lost his life too. It's a little girl, I beg your pardon, his little daughter, who again a lifetime of possibility, isn't it, when you're talking kids? Sadly, she lost her life too. I hate it when the news channels, just say Kobe Bryant's dead and forgetting about the child that died too. It was just wrong. Mark says, in regards to my last email, can I have his address so I can plead with them to extend your show from 1 night to 5 nights a week? I'm not sure it would make any difference, but thank you. And Mark says, over the past few months, I could really have done with you being on air Sunday to Thursday. It's just been one thing after another. October, moving into a new flat, the stress that brings. November, the passing of my granddad, followed by his funeral. December, the hassle of Christmas. And to top it off, the struggle of getting broadband. Still not got it, as the address of the flat has only just been registered and listed. What a clot. It's all clot. And do you notice how it always tends to come all at the same time? That's the problem. Got a quick track, and then we will be talking to Dave in South Shields. Now, whenever you play a track by the Specials, sometimes you dance about in your kitchen to much too young to head a kid, and you should be having fun. It's either that or it's this town is going to be a ghost town. And I'm thrilled to say it's actually gangsters tonight.
This is Night Owls on Greatest Hits Radio.
You never know who's going to call next.
0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And it's Alan Robson on the Night Owls. Thanks for joining us now. If you fancy texting in, you can do that too. We're talking about first kisses, first romances. Who were they? How did it go? Was it great? Was it terrifying? Where did you go to meet people? I want to know all those kind of things. And you can text Alan, ALAN, plus your message to 61054. 61054. Okay, but the word Alan first, ALAN. That is the deal. And we promised you Dave in South Shields, but literally just before that, I'm going to give you your first of 4 clues, because we're reaching that point of the show. You will end up with 4 clues, and what you have to do is tell me what they all have in common. The first clue is my first love, and it will be my last, according to John Miles. If you know your greatest hits, should be no bother for you. This is my first love, and it will be my last. What was it called? This is my first love, and it will be my last. Big hit for John Miles from Shields. So there you go. And there will be 3 more clues to come. Also, this is Justin. Alan, I'm a long-time listener. I'm a long-time listening. Passed on through my parents, but sadly my mum passed away on the 21st of December after a brave fight with motor neuron disease. Can you please give us a mention? Her name was Christine Cook, and I'm her daughter Nicola. She would be so proud to hear her name mentioned on her beloved Night Owl show. I'm so sorry to hear your news, Nick. Thank you for coming on, and we hope your mum's enjoying a brand new adventure somewhere else, free from pain, free from that blasted MND. 01914 488 3188. Get your calls in. Dave from South Shields done that. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Alan. How are you? All right?
I'm good, mate. Thank you kindly. What are you talking about tonight, then?
I just wanted to mention something. For the last 15 years, we've adopted rescue cats.
Right.
And we said from the outset that we wanted to go and sort of take the ones that nobody wanted.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, we've had some characters. And it's been well worthwhile. And the latest one we've had her now about 3.5 years. She's called Marigold. And when we got her, apparently when they'd taken her into the rescue centre, she'd been so neglected they'd had to completely shave her bald to treat her for fleas and stuff.
Right. Oh no.
And we took her, and it was a tricky thing because she wasn't very sort of sociable at first.
Right.
But gradually got used to it. And we'd had her about a fortnight. And there was one night, it must have been about 5 o'clock in the morning, when I got woken up, and it was this noise, and I'm thinking, what is that? And I can only describe it as yodeling. and honestly, I came down, and basically she wanted feeding. So I fed her, and I went back upstairs, and Margaret, my wife, woke up as I went back up, and she said, what are you doing? Where's, what was that noise? And I said, you know what? I said, we've adopted Frank Ifield's cat.
So, I mean, when you fed them, if it Marigold, is it a he or a she?
It's a she.
A she, I was going to say. So, surely, though, when you feed her at 3 o'clock in the morning, that gives her the chance to yodel every morning at 3 o'clock for you, then?
No. We gradually worked out that what we had to do was sort of make sure that you had a nice full bowl before we went to bed.
Right, I see.
And I mean, just still sometimes wakes were sort of, 7 o'clock-ish in the morning, but you don't mind that so much.
Yeah, sure.
But it was just, I'd never heard anything like it, and it was, it was just amazing to hear, and you think, I cannot imagine many cats having that kind of cry. And,
but when you said that you determined, the pair of you, that you and Margaret, that you'd take the ones that nobody else wants, surely some of those cats would have been the ones that were aggressive because they were screwed up by the human beings that failed to look after them properly the first time round.
Well, they do get them apparently at the rescue centre, but we've never had any of them.
Right.
Although I know they have advertised of late. But I mean, if you don't mind, I'll give a plug at the moment to the Willows Cat Rescue Centre in Shield.
Right.
Doing
people.
A marvellous job.
Good. No, that's great. So, how many have you had over the years then?
We've had 5 altogether.
Right.
The first 2 actually were sort of adopted from somebody else, and then they said after that they both passed away very quickly together because they were twins.
Right.
And they both had sort of cancer genes,
right,
which was very sad. And as it happened, it was sort of one of them died a week before me and Margaret got married.
Right.
And then we came back from our honeymoon, and the other one died a week later.
Oh,
it was just awful. And the thing was, once you've had them, they both died, and we didn't have any cats in the house for a couple of weeks. And I said, this house is like empty.
Yeah.
And it's strange, but it really was. It just felt empty when you came in. There was no life there,
Yeah.
So that's when we first went and we adopted from the Willows, and we adopted a pair of cats then. And since then, that's what we would do. We'd always sort of go. I mean, when we adopted this one, Marigold, I mean, they didn't know how old she was. They thought she might be about 10 to 12.
Right.
So we've had her 3.5 years, so we don't know how much longer we'll have her, obviously. But
sure.
You just give them the best life you can in the time you go.
That's right. You don't have her wearing little leather shorts, do you?
No, we've no. The wife has tried to buy her sort of hats at Christmas and things like that. But I said, no, I'm not going to have anybody saying we've humiliated her.
This is like Britain's Got Talent stuff. It's Margaret and a yodeling cat. Come on.
No, I would never exploit it like that. Well, it depends how much money you think I'll risk you.
Right.
Yeah, and actually the noise she makes, we were away last year for a weekend. We had sort of family actually staying as cat sitting because we'd never really left her before.
Right, yeah.
And Margaret's grandson was sort of cat sitting one night, and he had to ring his mother and say, Mum, I think she's in pain. And of course it was just the norm.
Well, it's one of those noises you don't expect from a cat. So what's going on? And it's not like they can say, no, I just happen to be expressing myself by singing my favourite German marching song or whatever it is that they're doing.
No, exactly. And it was really weird, but we've learned to love her just the same.
No, absolutely. A joyous thing it is. That's tremendous. Hey, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Margaret, in the background. I heard you chuckling. Thank you for coming on. Lovely to hear from you both.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thanks, man.
Bye
Take
for
it
now.
easy. Bye-bye. So have you got a pet with a strange secret talent? 01914 888 3188. All the cats that I've had a few over the years, none at the moment for like travelling reasons more than anything. The worst one was a black cat that I named after Louis Armstrong called Louis. And what he used to do was he'd go to a place where it was in shadow and curl up in a ball and shut his eyes, and he was invisible, this black cat. He'd lie in the shadow on stairs on an open-plan staircase in a living room, and when I walked past, he would jump on my head and claw it and go, "Shh." And then by the time what the hell was that? He was gone, off hiding in another shadow. And if you put your hand in to see if he was there, you'd get the claws came out. Blimey, he was a beast of a cat to look after. I did look after him for as long as I could, and I had to take him back to the cat shelter because it wasn't working out. I'd bled too much, and finally had to because everybody says, "Oh no, you can train them." I tried for about 2.5 years to train that cat, and think, well, eventually he'll realise who's feeding him, and realise the mistake he'd made and apologise, but he never did. 01914 888 3188. And worst dates we're talking about too. We've been talking about first romances and all of that. Well, Ben Mabon says, "Evening, Alan. One of my first dates, I paid £6 for tea and never spoke to her again. Loving the show as always. Having a few for my birthday. Happy birthday, Ben. All the best. £6 on a woman, and she didn't want to see you again." Now, you see, this is how men view dates. Women view dates like, did I like him? Was there any chemistry? But a bloke views a date as, but I spent £6 on her. How could she not fall in love with me? £6? 01914 888 3188. Julie is with us, and she's in Darlington. Hello, Julie.
Hello, Alan.
Hello. I gather you're talking about your first kiss.
Oh, yes. It's a bit embarrassing to talk about things like this, isn't it?
No, give over. How old were you in the first place?
I don't know, probably under 16, maybe.
Right.
Can't remember, 14, 15, I don't know. But I just remember it was quite romantic because we were both in an amateur operatic society, and it wasn't before that, but after they saw fit to cast us as Lunthar and Tuptim in The King and that.
Oh, wow.
So they must have realised it was a good fit.
Yeah, there was a bit of chemistry going on there. Brilliant.
Yeah, they must have realised there was some chemistry.
Did you know how to kiss, though?
It just come instinctively, yeah.
Did you? Oh, I've had a few that have just... It's like your mouths don't fit together. It says, oh, blimey, what's this all about? There was one that was really toothy. It was a bit bunny rabbity in the teeth department. And when you try to kiss, the teeth were coming in. You go, oh, I'm not sure I like this at all. And I had another one who, obviously, one of our friends had said to her, well, do you use your tongue? Well, for a first kiss, I wasn't bothered about any of that tongue nonsense. I just wanted to get my first kiss over with. And I remember her name. I'm not going to name her. Julie. No. Julie, you know who you are. But I'm no surname. But I went to kiss her, expecting like a peccaroony, little peccaroony on the lips. And the second our lips met, the tongue went in, but it went in like the SAS,
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm gonna choke to death. What's all? I mean, talk about keen. She was off on one, and I nearly bit her to stop her. To be honest, it was not a. It's full of slaver. Oh, blimey! No, no, I think you were lucky, obviously, by the first kiss. Or was this on stage when you were playing the role?
No, as I say, it was before that happened.
Right.
The kiss happened before we were like cast in those roles.
Yeah.
I only went out with him a couple of times, but
Right.
yeah, I liked him for a long time, but didn't work out because he was a bit of a pig to us, really, in a lot of ways.
Right. I
He obviously had issues.
Yeah, he had issue. That's men all over, though, isn't it? Most of them they've got testicles as well, which is always anything with testicles is trouble, in my opinion. But why do girls? And it's usually you ladies that say, "Oh, you never forget your first kiss." My first kiss was horrible.
Yeah, mine was okay. Yeah,
Right.
wasn't.
I'm tempted to say my standards must be higher than yours, or he was a really good kisser then. Do you think he'd had practice with other people?
Maybe.
That's the thing, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But, it was okay.
Right.
But, yeah.
Anything else
It
then?
was somebody that I liked,
Right,
but,
right.
yeah. Are you only on, still only on once a week now, Alan, or?
Well, so far, we're fingers crossed we can spread it across a week, but so far it's one night a week. Honestly.
Just one night a week. It took us a while to find you because you weren't on the normal radio.
Sure.
I think you have to have a DAB, but you're on, of course, online.
Good. That's great. Well, thanks for finding us, Julie. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, darling. You take care. Bye-bye. 0191 488 3188. And as you know, we're still working all of that kind of stuff out. Time.
This is the home of Alan Robson's Night Owls.
With the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And don't forget, every Friday, payday on Greatest Hits Radio. And you could win big. We're wanting you to start 2020 in style with an incredible summer holiday, or get yourself a new car, do up your house. If you're our winner, you can do what you like with the cash. This Friday, you could win 10, 10, 10. That is £10,010, 10 pence. And all you're going to do is text the word cash to 61054. That's cash to 61054. You've got to do it before 3 p.m. on Friday. And if we call you, answer within 5 rings and tell us the exact amount in pounds and pence, and you win. You simply go £10,010, 10 pence, or 10, 10, 10. That'll do it. So get busy with that. Fingers crossed you can make that one work. We've got an amazing conversation with one of the great stars that Greatest Hits Radio play all the time. Gloria Gaynor is on the show tonight. However, let's go and talk to Sue, who's in Washington. Hello, Sue.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, darling. What you got for us tonight, then?
Right. Oh, God. First of all, earlier on, we was out and we was walking, like, down near this river.
Uh-huh.
And there was a canoe on fire, and the fire brigade had come to put it out.
A canoe on fire?
And what it was... the man had took a paraffin heater on the canoe.
Oh, what?
Yeah, to keep warm, and it caught on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that really, it just goes to show you can't have your kayak and heater.
Hey! Nice one. Oh, I'm sorry, but that's definitely deserving a thank you. Oh, that's brilliant. Nice one. Suck it right in there. Well done. Brilliant.
Also, the person earlier on that pinched my reading glasses, I'll get them because I've got my contacts.
Oh, brilliant. Hey, on fire, Sue, tonight. On fire, lass. Well done. Tremendous.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was, obviously, I've got a lot of disabilities and stuff, and I'm now having to use 2 sticks.
Right.
And when my legs just won't, I just can't bear to use them because they're that painful.
Right.
I now have a wheelchair.
Uh-huh.
And, well, anyway, yesterday we went to park up in the disability bay.
Mm-hmm.
And as usual, as the one I've told you about before, we had to queue. And this man came in with a trolley filled to the top with cases and cases of beer and other alcohol and stuff.
Wow.
So I had my blue badge, and I was knocking up. My husband was going, no, don't say anything.
Yeah.
But I had my blue badge, so I kept looking at him and saying, where's your badge? Because he wasn't disabled.
No.
You know?
No, you see a lot of them like this.
And he just gives us such an awful look. Meanwhile, while this is going on, there's someone in a car behind us bibbing the hootler. Well, when you're at the exit, you cannot see right down the bottom to see if there's any disabled bays.
Right.
So we're waiting, and he bibbed his hooter, and next thing I knew, he'd reversed, gone up the road, and come in the exit way to get in a parking space, and he didn't have a badge either, and he just ran, and I'm like, it really maddens us, and to top it all, after that, we went into Asda, and I had to go to the customer services, and there was someone being served just before us, and there's me in the wheelchair, two other women came up and they stood to the left of us, and eventually the assistant came over and said, who's next? And the two women went to walk in front of us, and I went, it was me, and I said to my husband, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm not invisible.
Well, but that's what you appear to everybody else. They think they can do what they like with you, and you proved them wrong. Good lass, well done.
Oh, it really gets someone else, but I'm going to phone the council tomorrow and tell them, see if they can't get anything done, because what's the point of having disability bays if you can't get in because of the likes of stupid people like them?
Now, often I make a point of parking next to them, and just to watch the people who have no shame, because there's a couple of supermarkets around where I am where there's like parent and child spaces, and they're a little bit wider so you can get the car door open without battering it off whoever. And a lot of the four-wheel drive people think, oh, this must mean us because we've got big cars, Gosforth tractors, we call them. And you see them all parked in the parents and child thing without a child every single day.
Yeah.
And I just make a point of staring at them when they're getting into the car and keep watching their eyes all the way out, just to make if they've got any conscience at all. I'm working on it, giving them the evil eye. But I absolutely agree with you, especially the disabled bays. I mean, even when the car park's completely empty and the shop's got to close in 5 minutes and all of the bays are open, they're still not for you. Park in a normal bay, because, blame me, you wouldn't want a reason for parking in those disabled bays, would you?
Exactly. No. If I had legs, I would walk up the bank, because the car park, there's a little bank to get up to there.
Yeah.
But oh my God, there's a man who's got this uniform on, but there's nothing they can do. I've complained before inside the shopping centre, and all they say is, well, there's nothing we can do because they're shopping in the galleries and in Asda, and I'm like, well, what are the disabled people doing? Or they just come out for a day out,
it's irritating. It drives me mad. The thing about the badges is, well, and I've mind you, there's two sides to this. As you mentioned you're walking with sticks. I've seen some people walking with sticks, and I've watched them going into the doctors when it looks like they're going to fall off the stick. They're never going to make it. They'll never reach. And then as soon as they've seen the doctors, the two sticks are under their arms and they're walking like anybody else to get to the car. I've seen a bit of that before as well. And also, have you ever seen the person with the stick who's walking with the wrong leg?
Yeah.
I've seen a bit of that as well. And you kind of go, if you've got to walk with a stick, it's on the wrong leg. It's not. It's like walk, skip. You got it on the wrong leg, you cracker. Yeah, there's a bit of that goes on. But hey.
Well, I have two. So, I thought with one, it was bad enough for one, but because at first that was like the right hand stick.
Yeah.
So obviously your stick and the left leg goes, and I thought, oh, how's it going to work with two? But it just clicked just like that, you know. So it's like you're kind of skiing, but you're not.
No, if only. Hey man, we're hearing that the weather's taking a turn, so we're supposed to get a bit of snow tonight. I'm touching fake wood in the hope it doesn't happen.
Oh God, I hope not. I hate it, but I won't be using the sticks to ski, so don't worry.
No, because you'd be on a sledge being pulled by the family or the family pet. That's a good move.
Oh, yesterday I had a bit of a surprise. No, it wasn't yesterday. Friday it was. And my friend has been really, really ill, and she hasn't been able to get out much. But anyway, Friday she came round. She had a little surprise for us because she hadn't been able to even get Christmas presents.
Right.
And she'd been and got me a Pandora bangle.
Oh, that's nice.
For all the help I've done, and I said, look, I didn't want anything, you know. And she went, no, you've got to have something.
That's sweet.
So,
hey,
it's really nice
it's
of her.
just nice, isn't it? Nice to be nice. Hey, lovely stuff. Thank you, Sue.
Right. So, happy birthday, Ben, and hello, Jenny.
And
Thank you.
all of that too. Thank you very much, Sue.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye,
Alan.
bye now. Bye. Yeah, if anybody wants to say hi or just give a dedication, you're absolutely free to do that. You can do that across the day, of course, on Greatest Hits Daily. And remember, 10 o'clock in the morning, Mark Goodyear with his top 10 at 10, followed by Andy Crane, and then Darren Proctor and Rick Horton. Text Alan plus your message, 61054, if you fancy. And lurking in the darkness, we have a Whitburn dynamic duo. It's Yvonne and Ian. Hello, you two.
Hi, all right.
Hello, Ian.
Good
Good
as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to say hello?
Hello, Alan.
Hello, Yvonne. Good to have you with us. Right, what you got for us then, Ian?
Well, a couple of things. Just today went for a lovely meal across at the Britannia at Clevedon.
Oh, nice.
Very good carvery over there, if you ever get the chance to go.
Right.
And
Yorkshire puddings up to muster?
Plenty of choice. Lovely, the Yorkshire puddings, nice and fluffy.
Brilliant.
And they had lots of vegetables, string beans, turnip, sort of roasties.
Right.
And quite a lot of different variety. They even had
nice.
macaroni there.
Give over, right.
It was very good.
Did you have one sitting or did you go back for extras?
Well, I had a very big plate, I have to say.
That's the joy of the carvery. Good on you. Well done.
It's brilliant.
Get your money's worth. Good.
I got a couple of jokes for you.
Oh, come on, we'll have them.
Well,
you're risking the net, you mind, if they're kind of on par with Ian from Whitburn we know and love. Right, come on.
Well,
let's have it.
What is a teddy bear's favourite food?
What is teddy bear's favourite food? Is it teddy breck?
No, stuffing.
Stuffing?
Yeah, because they get stuffed.
Oh, all right.
And the other one, how do you know when the metro tram is pregnant?
How can you tell when the metro tram
how do
is
you know when
pregnant?
Yes.
I don't know.
When it is due.
Oh, I'm afraid that one's good down the netty right there.
Yeah.
We'll not miss that if we ever hear it again. Right, so what else you got for us then?
Well, I'm going to put Yvonne on, but it was great to hear Deacon Blue on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just saying I've seen them live a couple of times.
Yeah, great band.
And Yvonne will talk about that as well. I went to Whitley Bay Ice Rink with one of my friends in 1989. I think I saw them in the early 90s as well at the City Hall.
Wow.
Tremendous.
No, they're just electric on stage. They really give a lot more than you would think from a...
Yeah.
I'm
just going to mention I've done a CD as well. Did you get Linda's CD, by the way?
Yes, I did. It's great. It's got a little bit of everything on it.
Oh, that's good. Oh,
I enjoyed it. No, it's great. Thank you.
That's good. I did some of the instrumentation on the background.
Yeah, no, we could tell. There's only you sound like that, Ian. That's a fact.
Well, I've got another one coming out, which is called Finale.
Right.
My band, actually, the Crimson Pomegranates, I'm going solo soon, but we've brought out a CD called Finale, and I'll give you a copy of that one.
Okay, great.
It's all for Water Aid. But I thought of another charity idea I was going to do for them
what's that?
in the future. I was thinking, I love dogs, as you know, and I used to have a pet Labrador. And I was thinking of growing my hair longish, a bit like a Springer Spaniel, and half of it I was going to have white with brown liver spots, and the other half was brown with white liver spots, a bit like a Springer Spaniel.
Right.
And imagine me on stage like that.
Right.
Doing a set of music and poetry.
Yeah, it would be certainly different. Why not?
It certainly would, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm thinking of doing that for my birthday later on in the year. But here's Yvonne now.
Lovely.
And,
thank you very much, Ian. Good to talk to you, man.
You take care and God bless. And Yvonne's ready.
Thanks. Gotcha.
Hiya, Alan.
Hello, Yvonne. How you doing?
You okay?
Yes, I'm good.
You haven't been chasing any cannibals again, have you? Can you remember?
I can never forget.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Shame you're not on every night. We'll miss you.
I know, and I miss it more than you'd ever know. But we're battling. Hopefully, we'll be back.
I've never listened to you for a while because I couldn't get it on the radio, but I'm over the moon with Deacon Blue, my favourite group. You've been me nice.
Well, there you go. Perfect.
Thank you.
That's no worries.
Just about Australia Day, all my family's out there. My nieces, nephews, brother, sister, auntie, everybody.
Right.
I haven't got many people here, just my mum, my son, and a couple of cousins.
Right.
And just wish them all the best because it's Australia Day and all the firemen and everybody in Australia, wish them all the best.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't know if you would play Waltzing Matilda, would you?
Probably not. But it's in our the Aussies are in our thoughts. Absolutely, they're officially.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing, Australia Day, because apparently, because it's funny. It's Australia Day. It's Burns Night. It's Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
It's all kind of stuffed into one day. But Australia Day, as far as I stand to be wrong here, but as far as I know, it's celebrated today. Because it's the anniversary, and I can't remember the year, but it'll be in the late 1700s, when the first fleet of British ships arrived in New South Wales. Now you see, if that's the reason, and I think it is, and everybody in Australia goes, yay, I would imagine the Aboriginal population probably think that that's the equivalent of Hiroshima going off in Japan. Do you know what I mean? Because changed their lives. A lot of them were frankly exterminated and almost enslaved by the people that came in. So I wonder if the Aborigines support Australia Day or whether they maybe have a day of their own. Because we just didn't treat them very well. That was the thing.
Did we not? Oh, I don't really know about that.
No,
but you're right about the fleet and everything,
Yeah.
Yeah, but just wish them all the best because I think most of them seems to be fighting a losing battle, the poor firemen.
No, it's been horrific. But they've said they've had the first few pieces of rainfall.
Yeah.
And that's what they need really to put the whole lot out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been tough, but blimey, they'll be back. They're made of strong stuff, the Aussies.
Oh, I know, they're stronger than us. Yeah, we're in the worst country in the world, I think.
Oh, blimey. Right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
How's Gaza doing?
How's who?
Gaza.
Gaza doing?
Gaza,
Gaza seems to be happier than he has been in the longest time.
Oh, I've never heard anything about him, and I've asked around, and not a lot of people have.
No, he's living quietly, and he's got people keeping an eye on him, and he seems to be doing okay. So we can.
Oh, that's great.
And that's the best way for him to live, because my experience in Gaza, and I've worked with him a few times on like charity things and charity football matches, and we've been out to people's houses who are terminally ill and stuff. He's a diamond. You don't see half of.
I know he is. I know my heart goes out to him.
You don't see half of what he's done. You only hear about the daft stuff,
You're right.
And he is a diamond, and I've seen people take the mickey, use him, steal his money right in front of him, and I'm not surprised that he's had it as tough as he has, because he's been surrounded by a few wrong uns in his time.
Yeah, yeah.
Very sad, but hey, we wish him well.
Send him all my love.
Absolutely.
And just all my love to all of my friends, especially the Johnson sisters.
Okay.
And just all my family and friends and everyone, and all the elderly and all the lonely people and the homeless and everybody.
All right, well, thank you, Yvonne. Good hearing from you. Thank you, darling.
Good night. God bless.
Bye. And I tell you what, I'm going to start a new thread on Night Owls tonight. Ducks. Okay? Ducks. I'm going to start a new thread. Ducks. Duck jokes. I want some of them, and I'll give you an Australian version of a duck joke to start you off, because it's Australia Day. What do you call a tomcat who's eaten a duck? Okay, what do you call a tomcat that's eaten a duck? A duck-filled fatty puss. There you go. That is as near to Australia as we're going to get. We want duck jokes. For example, what do ducks eat? Cheese and quackers, okay? What caravan site do ducks go to? Feathers. So have a think about it. I want duck jokes. Text them to 61054. You've got to text the word Alan plus the message to 61054. Duck jokes. Let's have a few duck jokes tonight. And the first one's just come in from Pauline, and it is, how do you catch a duck? How do you catch a duck? With a double-barreled shotgun. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not having that. Not having that. We love ducks, with the exception, of course, if it's in hoisin sauce and on a pancake. Right, a lot of stuff already being texted in. Hi, Alan. Just a follow-on from the tribute you read out to our beloved Christine Cook. She sadly passed away from motor neuron disease, but we wholeheartedly pass on our thanks to the RVI, and especially the MND specialist, Bernie Chapman. We thank the Macmillan nurses who took care of our mum in the last days to let her die at home in peace. We all think of Macmillan supporting cancer patients, but those nurses look after every patient in their last days, and a massive thank you to the palliative care team at Sonsbeck Hospital. Sonsbeck? It's probably Wansbeck Hospital. Without them, we all would have been lost. Credit where credit's due. Well done, everybody there. And also, Ali's been on. Can you help me out? I've been chatting about the old Night Owls days back on the station that we won't mention, but we got talking about the show that was on with love songs. It was either Friday or Saturday, but on the other night of the Hot and Heavy, what was it called? It was usually actually on a Sunday. It started on a Friday, but they moved it to Sunday and they put dancey stuff on a Friday. So it was simply called Love Songs. Samantha did it, and another presenter that I'm not going to name because he once sued me for a considerable sum of money after I cracked a joke about him. I'm not going to name the guy ever. However, I'll tell you what he did. This is a dirty, dirty game. On air, somebody rang in and said, oh, whatever happened to him, the man who shall not be named? And I said, oh, did you not hear about all of his wives? And the woman says, well, no. He said, well, apparently he's been marrying women wherever he goes, and they discovered that he had 15 wives and like 20-odd children, and he's in prison at the moment. And the woman went, really? And I said, no, of course not. He's doing fine. He's living in the particular area where he lived. And now you see, I thought, that's a joke. I've turned it into a joke. And at the end, you say, no, it wasn't a joke. Well, it was a joke. And he's doing fine, and that wasn't true. And so I thought I'd been specific. He lost, but he still sued me, and I took it personally. Because you say that about people that you work with, don't you? You have a bit of fun. Obviously not. No sense of humour there. I must admit, I didn't find it remotely funny when I found a writ on my desk. However, let's crack on. Nothing's ever simple, is it? And we have Sean up those mountains. He's in concert. Hiya, Sean.
How you doing, mate?
I'm all right. Thank you kindly.
Awful news about this Kobe Bryant, isn't it?
Oh, my goodness. I know. We had that horrific helicopter crash for the Leicester City chairman, if you remember. How many times is it going to be these? And everybody says, oh, helicopters, they're the safest, this and that. There's been a few over the last few years, hasn't there?
Yeah. They said there was only 5 perished, but there's 9.
9? Oh, my
9
goodness.
perished. So, it's awful, isn't it?
How big a helicopter was it? I mean,
I've
been lucky
one
enough.
of them big, massive things.
I was going to say, I've been on a few. I've been lucky enough to be on a few helicopters over the years doing telly and radio and stuff, but they tended to be the ones that maximum you'd get 4 in. I don't think I've ever been in one that you could house 9 people in, but blimey. So were there any survivors at all?
None at all, no.
Oh, my goodness. That's just
none perished.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. What
you going to be doing on Friday? You going down to London to celebrate this Quackers Day?
I think
bit of a joke.
I think you already. I was going to say. I think you already know the answer to that. No, I shan't be doing that. And it's just one of those things that it takes a certain amount of courage and fairness to jump into a black hole and then say we'll hope for the best. Everything's going to work out because we're giving up everything that we've got in place. Takes a certain amount of courage for that. But that's the only thing I'll give them because I just hate the lies.
I cannot understand how they're celebrating for something that's going to take 2 years and might never happen, you know what I mean?
It may well never happen, that's quite right. And the interesting thing, I was seeing pictures earlier today of some coin. They're going to have
the Brexit coin.
They're going to have a Brexit coin, and I presume people should buy these things. And the only reason I say they should buy them is because if Brexit doesn't come off, and it's a million miles away from coming off, to have your Brexit peace, prosperity, and friendship with all nations. Now, for Britain, who's frankly we've been at war with everybody.
I like when they said all nations. They're going to get rid of 27.
Yeah, it's like peace, prosperity, and friendship with all nations, but don't try and come into the country. It's a bit of a cheek, isn't it? I think that whole thing. But it's interesting because I can't think of a country anywhere on earth that we haven't been to war with. We've had a good. I think the Inuits probably get off with it lately, but I mean everybody else we've had a pot at one time or another. So this friendship with all nations
might have war with Scotland at the minute.
Yeah, it's possible. And hey, the Irish situation isn't addressed, and
I know that there's going to be a hard border, isn't it?
It looks like that's going to be the case, and that totally sinks the Good Friday Agreement, which technically means the IRA dig out all their weapons again. We don't want to see that happen. I'd say.
I'm just pleased that the bongs are not going to happen. What a sickener here. The big clock.
I know.
It's not going to bong.
And I'm thinking, is this all they've got to talk? I mean, they probably sat around for like 2 hours. Shall we bong? I don't know. What are you thinking? Well, if we bong, and you think, what? It's just a clock, for heaven's sake. Get over it. Crack on. Make money for the country. Do your job. Create jobs. Do all the things that politicians are supposed to do. Instead, as I say, for 3.5 years, they've just been sitting on their thumb, and not doing it with their thumb up there. They just haven't been looking after the country the way the country needs.
I think there'll be a bit bother like me. I think it'll kick off.
I hope not.
I think you've got your people that wanted to stop in. I mean, I voted coming out, but it was the biggest mistake I've ever done because I didn't realise Ireland was going to be.
Well, it's just I love the Irish. I love the Scots. I would hate to lose Great Britain. It's what's been there all my life. I would hate to think that we're going to throw it away. But we are where we are. The people have voted, and we accept the vote. And let's see what it is. as I say, I didn't vote in the first place, so I can blame myself, I suppose. But bottom line is, nobody, not even the firmest Brexiteer, actually knows what's going to happen, because nobody does.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah. The coin did make me laugh, though. And peace with all nations, as long as you don't come. Otherwise, we'll say, hey, out of way.
Think they're going to spend, what was it, £100 billion on a train that nobody wants.
Good gracious! And they're saying that it has to be made now.
Live within your means, and then they go and spend £106 billion on a train that.
And they say it's going to be 206 by the time they're finished. And you see, why when they say, but it has to go ahead now, it sounds like why? Because the politicians have already invested their money in it. Why does it have to go ahead? You know, for imagine if that was all pushed into the NHS, they wouldn't have to sell it to Trump then, maybe.
It's going to take 40 years, man. We'll all be pushing up dates. I wonder how that train went. Hey, I wonder what that train was like.
But do you know, even if it was finished now, it's nowhere near us. Not going to do us any good.
Exactly. I like when they turn around and say, "Oh, it's going to connect the north to the south." Well, it's not.
It goes
only from Leeds.
It goes
downwards.
It goes halfway up. Doesn't go up where the north is.
Doesn't go to cunt.
No. I think you're going to be waiting for a train a damn sight longer than that, mate. Up that hill.
I'll stick with a metro.
The runaway train goes down the track. She blew. Blimey, she would have a concert. Lovely. Anything else then, Sean?
Right, take care, mate.
Thank you very much. All the best here. Bye-bye. 01914 488 3188. Time for a tune, and a good tune too. I've decided to go just to keep the atmosphere going. As you know, we're talking to Gloria Gaynor very, very soon. But I thought something soly-woly, and blimey, how many of you can avoid tapping your feet or singing along with McFadden and Whitehead? Do you remember this? Great stuff on Greatest Hits. Pick up your telephone, give us a call. We want your duck jokes as well. Blimey, they're coming in thick and fast. Alan says, beg your pardon, it's David in Sunderland. What's a duck's favourite food? Cream quackers. Oh, dear. What do you call an Australian duck? You know, I mentioned the Australia Day thing. Quackadile Dundee, that's very good. What do you call a stupid duck? A right quacker. Oh, dear. And what do ducks have for breakfast? Quacker oats, of course. So, duck jokes, they are coming in thick and fast. Couple of dedications as well. Jackie says, you know, talking about first loves. I met my husband when I was 16 and he was 15, and I was on holiday in Silloth in Cumbria back in 95. We were together for over 3 years, and then we ended, and then we found each other again in May 2011 and got married in December 2011. 2 kids later and 9 years on, we are as happy and very much still in love as can be. Lovely. There you go. And this one is, Alan says, I've been pen friends with a lovely young lady for about a year. I finally met Gillian at Scarborough railway station. She took me to a little viewpoint, Merchants Row, overlooking Scarborough's South Bay, where we shared a kiss to end all kisses. I knew from that moment on that I wanted to spend the rest of my life loving her. We married just 6 months later, and our love has grown every day since then. We've been married now almost 17 years. Oh, you slavers. That's lovely, though. If you want to share your story, just do it. Text Alan plus your message, 61054. Don't forget, we got Gloria Gaynor coming up very, very soon in conversation. And how much do you know about this woman whose songs you know all the words to? You will be very surprised what she has to say. We got some Blark coming your way too. But first, we'll take a quick break.
Call Alan Robson's Night Owls now.
0191 488 3188.
This is real life conversation with the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And we've got room for you if you fancy giving us a call. Pick up your telephones. Get to those phones. 0191 488 3188. We certainly have room for you tonight. Have you been to a Burns night? Have you been celebrating Chinese New Year? Have you been at a party for Australia Day? Whatever you've been up to, we need to know. We want your first love stories too. First, you see, I can't believe that all of you knew how to kiss. I mean, how do you practice? I was a lousy kisser. Took years to get up to scratch. And I just can't believe it. Everybody else, well, it was just natural. What? It's an unnatural thing, the whole business. 0191 488 3188. We want your calls. Pick up your telephone and let us get busy. Time for your second clue, and then time for a couple more duck jokes, and then we got Linda. In fact, we might do the duck jokes with Linda because she's always great fun. Clue number 1 is my first love, and it will be my last, said John Mayall's big hit record for John, his biggest hit. What was it called? Is my first love, and it will be my last. But what was it? Second clue. In Italy, it's vacanza. In Poland, it's vacace. In Germany, it's Urlaub. In France, it's vacanze. Okay? In Italy, it's vacanza. In Poland, it's vacace. In Germany, it's Urlaub. And in France, it's vacances. What is it in English? Okay? Vacanza, vacances, vacace, Urlaub. The German language is guttural, a bit like ours, isn't it? About the northeast accents, very kind of Urlaub. It's totally different than everything else. So, you've got 2 clues down, you've got 2 more to come, and the duck jokes will follow me saying hello to Linda from Barrisford. Hello, Linda.
Oh, good morning, Alan.
Hello, you. How you doing?
Not too bad.
That's good. What happens if a duck flies upside down? It quacks up.
I got one as well.
Oh, go on then.
Where do you send a duck if it's got depression?
Oh, I don't know. Where do you send a duck if it's got depression?
To the quack doctors.
Hey, okay, we'll give you that. Oh, blimey. Got a lot of duck jokes to run by because a lot of people have been sending them. The first batch comes from Sean, who's in Middlesbrough.
Mm-hmm.
A duck goes into a chemist and wants to buy some condoms.
Yeah.
The assistant says, "Shall I put it on your bill?" And the duck says, "Don't be daft, I'll suffocate." Come on! That's a duck joke.
Yeah.
Right there, tell you. What was a duck's favourite TV programme?
Crackerjack.
Quackerjack, of course it was. There you go. Tremendous.
I got that one right, Alan.
I tell you did very, very well indeed.
Because I'm quackers.
What do you call the duck that rings the bells at Notre Dame?
No.
The hunchquack of Notre Dame. Come on. Keep up. Ah, dear. So, what you been on to? What you been up to? What you been doing? Tell me everything.
Good news or the bad news?
Good news, please.
Good news. I got my driving license back.
Hey! Oh, that's great. I said it would happen, and you were doubtful at the time, but hey,
yeah.
Happy days. That's great news.
Yeah.
And what's the bad news?
Got it back on Thursday.
Oh, that's great. Well done. Well done.
The bad news is I've got osteoporosis.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, on my hip.
So what have they told you to do, and what have they given you for
They're giving me alendrolic acid.
Alendrolic. Well, it's named after me, so it's bound to work. Alendrolic. My mum had osteoporosis for the last 30-odd years of her life.
Oh.
And but what the doctors gave her kept her... She was never in any pain with it, so...
Mm-hmm.
I just hope you get to that point where the pain's gone.
But I've had my... what was it like? What do you call it now? I've forgotten the name of it.
Right.
Pains anyway down my back and down the sides of my legs for the last 16 years.
Oh, dear.
And I went about 10 years ago for an X-ray, and they said it was muscular.
Right.
And then when I went this time, then it said it was osteoporosis. But never mind, Alan. You plod on, didn't you?
You got no choice.
Yeah.
You've got in case there's something that can't be done for it, then you press on.
Yeah.
Do what you can, though, for sure.
What was it? I mean, the pain in the armpits, but never mind.
Yes, it's a bit lower than that, but I know what you mean. No, it's one of the night owls. If anybody's got any cures that's worked for you, if you've got osteoporosis and you are suffering extreme pain with it, it's a nasty thing. Let's have any tips or any cures we could do with that. Text Alan plus your message to 61054, or give us a call and we'll get you on as soon as we can. We can certainly do that.
What was it? And I went to Strictly, Alan.
You went to Strictly Come Dancing?
Yeah. Oh, it was lovely.
Was it good?
Mm.
Did you get up and dance?
I was, but I thought I don't want to damage myself.
Right. No, because they travel at a fair pelt, the Strictly dancers, don't
Well,
they?
you could only dance in the front of your seat, sort of thing.
All right.
And what was it? It was a Charleston, and I thought, well, I know how to do the Charleston anyway.
Yeah, but you don't want to also kick you. You've got osteoporosis. You don't want to break your shins on the seats in front while you were doing it, though. No, that's the thing. So who was on? Was any famous people?
Is it Kelvin?
I don't know. They say
don't
they're
know
celebrities, but I've never heard of most of them.
No, but the one that won the trophy on
Strictly Come Dancing
on Friday night was from Emmerdale, I think.
All right. Oh yes, the guy. And I know the guy. I know his face anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
But the dancing was lovely and the setup was great and everything.
That's good.
And I ate well, and I enjoyed myself.
The thing that you've got to do, though, is make memories. Make as many memories as you can, because that's the real treasures of your life. It's not down to money. It's not down to cash or anything.
What was it? I'll do what I can, and I'll carry on.
Good.
No matter what.
Good. I would expect nothing less of you, Linda.
No.
Really that's
and I'm feeling fine, and as long as that head stays as it is, there's no trouble.
Right. Good. That's good. Good to know.
Do you want another couple of jokes, Alan?
Yes, please. Come on.
Let's have a look. They're not duck ones, though.
It doesn't matter. I'll have any joke. Me, you should know that by now.
What do you get if you cross a snowman with a vampire?
What do you get if you cross a snowman with a vampire? I don't know.
Frostbite.
Frostbite! Hey! Oh, that's very good.
What do bunnies use to dry themselves after a bath?
I don't know.
A hairdryer.
Oh, hey, that's obvious. Right.
Why is a divorce so expensive?
Because it's worth it.
That's it.
I tell you. Here's a one for you then, Linda. Two little boys in the classroom. It's a biology lesson.
Yeah.
And they've waited till all the other kids have gone so that these two little boys can have a private word with the biology teacher.
Yeah.
So when the class had cleared, the little lad said, "Sir, which is the one that walks sideways? Is it crabs or is it lobsters?" And the teacher said, "It's crabs that walk sideways." So the little lad turned to his mate and said, "You see, I told you you've got lobsters." Thank you. Oh, dear. Fantastic.
Oh, dear.
You got anything lined up for the week ahead, then?
I'd babysitting at the weekend.
Oh, that's good. That'd be fun.
What was it? Go see my mum and dad.
Right.
And now that I got the car, I can just get in my car and pile the stuff in and shoom them away.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's great now.
Oh, hang on. Ian from Anfield Plain has just sent in a joke for you.
Oh, lovely.
A boy from Anfield Plain was poaching near Kielder. He'd caught a duck and he was sitting at the edge of the water plucking it when the bailiff came walking past. The lad threw the duck into the water and sat there looking guilty with feathers all over his lap. And the bailiff says, "And what do you think you're doing?" And the young lad brushed the feathers off his lap and says, "I've just brought my pet duck up here for a swim, and I'm holding his clothes."
It's holding his what?
Holding his clothes. There you are. Nice one. Well done, Ian.
Oh, brilliant.
Thank you for that. Good stuff. Okay, Linda, well, thank you very much for coming on.
Can I just say a couple of hellos?
You can say what you like. Go for it.
Happy birthday to my brother Leslie on Saturday.
Right.
And happy birthday to my son on Valentine's Day.
Right.
He'll be 30.
Uh-huh.
And that's James.
Lovely.
And all my love to all the night owls in the world.
That's brilliant. Really lovely, Linda. Thank you for coming on, darling.
And love to you and Jennifer.
Thank you kindly.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye. So there is Linda from Barrisford.
Now, when you're talking about superstars and a name that everybody knows and loves, Gloria Gaynor is with us tonight. Hi, Gloria.
Hi.
Hello. Good to have you with us, and congratulations, recipient of a Legend Award. You are officially a legend now.
Yeah.
What does it feel like to be a legend?
It feels great. I mean, it feels great to have people think of you that way. I don't know what it feels like to be a legend, but it certainly feels great to have people think of you that way.
Well, let's go back to the very beginnings of Little Gigi. When you were tiny small, where were you raised? Where were you born?
In Newark, New Jersey.
And what was life like for you there? Were you rich? Were you poor?
We were poor, but when children are loved, they don't know they're poor. So we didn't know we were poor.
That's a form of richness, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So what were you like? Were you a good kid?
I was disgustingly good. I didn't have any friends for that reason.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. You were the apple for a teacher kid.
Well, no, I just was the example for a teacher kid.
Wow.
Why can't you do this like Gloria? Why can't you be like Gloria? They hated me for that.
Yes, that would get you beaten up a bit, I would think.
Well, it didn't get me beaten up because I had 5 brothers.
The ultimate threat, I see. Okay, so when you get up to the early teenage years, did you always think that singing was going to be the thing?
Well, I thought it would be either that or teaching. Yeah, I wanted to be a teacher.
Right.
I still want to be a teacher.
And is that what you were studying for?
No, that's the reason why I didn't become a teacher, because we were poor and I didn't have money for college.
All right.
So singing quickly became my first and only choice.
Yeah. Did you do any other jobs?
Well, I worked in a department store as a sales auditor. I worked in another store as an accountant. I always did office work.
Right. Yeah. So the singing was a sideline then? You were doing that in the evenings when you weren't working?
Right. I mean, the other thing that I did was I became a cosmetologist.
Yeah? What's that?
Where you do hair and nails and makeup and
see.
manicures and pedicures and massages and all that stuff.
That's a neat way to get extra cash in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, what happened was when I told my mother I wanted to be a singer, she said, "Well, that's great, but in case you don't make it, try to get some practical education, vocation under your belt, because 10 years later, if you don't make it, nobody wants to hear that you never had a job."
Right.
So I went to school for beauty culture and for secretarial courses with shorthand typing and bookkeeping.
Right.
And I worked at those things for 5 years, and those things sponsored my early career as a singer.
Right. So how do you get into it, though? Because at that time, and it was a very exciting time for music when you first began, because the whole disco thing was just kicking off for the first and proper time.
Yeah.
So how do you get into all of that?
Well, I honestly didn't know how to get into it. I had no idea where to go. And so I believe that God just really sort of engineered whereby I was babysitting for a friend. She had a neighbor upstairs who would come in the afternoons, And so at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I would hear this person come in, and I thought, if I can hear him walking, this person walking, I didn't know if it was a male or female, but if I can hear this person walking, they'll hear me singing. I just wanted somebody to hear me sing. So I would follow those footsteps, and when they stopped, I would stop and sing. Well, a couple of weeks later, I'm in a nightclub. I get called up to sing on stage because the footsteps upstairs belonged to the owner of that club.
Wow.
Who saw me come in, told the band about me, and they subsequently asked me to start singing with them the following night.
That's the fingertips of fate, isn't it? Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And from then on, were you spotted and then the record label was offered to you, or what?
Well, I was spotted by a young man who sang in a club that I happened to sing in. He sang in the club all the time, and I sang on the weekends.
Right.
And he saw me and took me over to Johnny Nash, who at that time had a record company.
Sure.
And he signed me, and
away it
I sang my first recording with him, which did absolutely nothing. Then later on I worked in a club where a topless go-go dancer saw me.
Yeah.
And told her manager about me. Well, she could dance, but she couldn't sing.
Right.
So she wanted to sing. She was gracious and wanting to be a singer herself. She still was gracious enough to tell her manager about me, and he took me to Columbia Records.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was liftoff.
Where Clive Davis saw me, and I did my first single that became a part of the first Never Can Say Goodbye album.
Fantastic. When the hits started coming, I would imagine your family would be shaking their heads saying, she's done it? I mean, does it feel like you've done it when you have your first hit? Have you made it then?
You feel like you've done it when you hear your first recording on the radio.
Right.
And I've had a couple of false starts with that. But with Never Can Say Goodbye, as you may know, I not only had the first hit, but it was the first gold record. And then with that, I was elected Queen of the Discos.
Yeah.
And then I really felt I was off and running.
Well, and you were, of course, because the discos during that time, your music was always there. I mean, Reach Out you did as well, and a whole host of other ones. So it became a bit of a roller coaster ride for you. Did it feel like that?
No, it just felt like, well, yeah, I guess so, because roller coaster's always been my favorite ride.
What was it like, though, at that time to get up on stage in the disco era, where everybody was wearing the wildest clothes imaginable, for you to get up there and do your thing? Because you're the diva of that time.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It felt great. It felt like it feels right now.
Yeah.
When I get up to sing, it just felt really, really great. It was always a communication between me and my audience, a sharing of something that we all loved, a sharing of love between us, and it's a wonderful thing.
Now I've got to ask, because when the single cover came through, now I remember seeing pictures of you across the generations. Realistically, I've seen the changing face of Gloria Gaynor. You're a babe. How do you keep looking like that? Because everybody else is... People crumble away after their first single. You've got stronger and better looking.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
So are you a working out person, or have you been using some of that cosmet, whatever it is, on yourself?
No, I work out, and I definitely do my own hair and makeup.
Right.
And now I'm on this macrobiotic way of eating that feeds your skin and keeps your skin nice and supple and young looking. And
I think on behalf of people that don't look as good as you, I should ask the question, what is this diet that seems to do the thing?
Well, it's just eating the way we all should eat. And that's lots of fresh fruits and vegetables and soy products and freshwater fish. No meat or meat byproducts, not because meat's bad for you, but because what we've done to the meat. Right. You know, we put so many chemicals and garbage in the meat that the meat no longer nourishes you.
Right.
So I don't eat any meat or cheeses or dairy products. My I don't have dairy products, but I have soy milk and soy cheeses, which is wonderful to cook with.
Mind you, you must be a nightmare to take out to a restaurant. Because
no, I'm not. Because when I go out to a restaurant, like while I'm sitting here doing these interviews, the lovely ladies who are helping me here have brought me lunch, and they brought me a nice piece of salmon and fresh vegetables, and it was great.
But you're a superstar now. I mean, the rest of us going into a restaurant, they'd look down there and they'd slap you with a salmon if you asked for that kind of stuff.
Why? Are you serious? Salmon is wonderful.
Well, it is, but it's kind of a superstar food, isn't it? I mean, it's not your average man's food.
It isn't?
Well, no, not
I've
really.
always loved salmon ever since the first time I tasted it. And I'll tell you something, I first tasted it here in Britain.
Yeah.
And when I went home and got salmon, I thought, this isn't salmon.
Let me ask you a few stranger questions.
Mm-hmm.
First one is, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to the Gloria Gaynor body? I'm talking accidents, operations, anything
the
nasty.
Worst thing.
Oh, yeah, we want agony
absolutely.
here.
I fell in 1978. I fell on stage during a performance and woke up the next morning paralyzed from the waist down.
No.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I injured my spine. I ruptured a disc, and the bones, vertebrae, clamped down on the nerve, and just, at first I was in excruciating pain, and then I was paralyzed. I had surgery on my spine. I was in hospital for a little over 3 months, and came home, and while in a back brace that helped me to recuperate, helped me to keep my spine straight while I recuperated from the surgery, I recorded "I Will Survive."
Wow. What in the perfect song. Because when that came out, and it was an overnight success, and it's still played at every party on earth pretty much. Everybody says, well, she can't possibly come up with another song that's as meaningful as that. And then I Am What I Am arrived, and everybody says, oh, she has. How do you find tunes like that? Because they're
normally they're sent to me, and I and my team have the good sense to know a good song when we hear it.
Well said. Another wackier question, and I'm just wondering, have you ever seen a ghost or had any strange phenomenon kind of experience?
No, I haven't.
Oh, shame.
I tell you what, I have had a strange phenomenon kind of, and this was such a wonderful experience. I'm a born-again Christian.
Right.
And I'm in my bedroom, and I'm praying, and I'm thinking, I'm talking to God as I would talk to my living Father sitting there. And I'm saying, Jesus, I wish I could have seen you the way you looked when you walked on the earth. But I guess I can't see you because being in your presence would be like being in the sun without benefit of the ozone layer. Your perfection would consume me, but I thank you for allowing me to come spiritually into your throne room. And suddenly, I was there.
No. So what was it like?
Body experience. It was wonderful as I stood up and I started spinning around for joy. And as I did that, I realized that all around me, 360 degrees, there were believers for as far as the eye could see. Believers dressed in white on their faces. And as a cook, in retrospect, I said, it looked like a great pan of raw bread rolls. Everybody bent over. But the feeling that I had, the feeling of joy was so indescribable that when I was instantly back in my body, back at the foot of my bed, I jumped up from my bed and I went running through the house because my body was too small for me to rejoice in. My spirit wanted to be out. I didn't want to be back. Right. And I was running through the house, praising God and shouting hallelujah. And I'm glad my husband wasn't there because he thought I had lost my mind. But I could not contain the joy that I felt. And I realized that although I believe every word of the Bible and believe that heaven is made up of wonderful mansions and streets of gold and all of that, I believe that the main joy of being in heaven is just being in the presence of God, because when I was there in his presence, the joy was indescribable.
Wow, what an experience. On seeing that, everybody has fears of one thing or another. What are you frightened of, Gloria?
I don't have any fears. I have no fears whatsoever. I have a healthy sense of respect, a healthy respect for danger. but I don't have any fears.
Right. Okay. And what do you want to achieve now? Because I'm just looking at what you've already achieved in your lifetime. It's been incredible. What do you want now? What's left for Gloria?
What I want to achieve is I really want to do some more albums. I want to really begin to but perform again here in Britain and in the United States. And after some years of that, what I'm really looking forward to, the vision that I have, is for a ministry, a place where the entire family can come for recreation and learning how to affect peaceful, harmonious, equitable relationships in every area of one's life.
Well, that's a nice thing to aim for. So you're going to be Gloria Gaynor guru?
No, I'll be a minister of Christ.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. Gloria Gaynor, it's been a thrill.
Thank you so much.
We're going to be looking forward to seeing you working live again.
My pleasure.
There you go. Gloria Gaynor talking to me a while back. Fantastic woman. Amazing stories. And I just wanted to mention, before I played kind of the obvious tune, whenever you're at a karaoke and women get up and sing this song, they sing it like men have really hurt and destroyed. All of the anger and the anger. First I was and they're pointing at men. You, it was you. This is a song that, I'm sorry, but it just brings out the worst in women, in my opinion. It's like, yes, I know we've been naughty from time to time as boys. We can't help it. We have testicles. They make us do it. It's not that we want to upset you. It's just, that's how we are. But blimey, this song, absolutely incredible. And if you have got any stories about, again, the way that you've sung it, or maybe who were you singing it to when you were letting vent, that would be a really good suggestion for tonight. Pick up your telephone and give us a call, and we'll let Gloria do it, and maybe you can let vent tonight. Over to you. Right, do you feel exorcised now, ladies? Have you got it all out of your system? Because I just feel that when a woman hears that, she's probably turned to her husband, who's probably nodding quite nicely in bed at the moment, and just give him a cuff. That's you. You can tell I've been married a few times, can't you? 0191 488 3188. We're going to take a little break, and then you're going to get some blah.
0191 488 3188.
This is Night Owls.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Yes, you are indeed with Greatest Hits Northeast at the moment with the Alan Robson Night Owls. Of course, you are 2 clues in. The first clue is My First Love, and it will be my last. A big John Miles hit. Write down what that was called. Second clue, in Italy it's Vacanza. In Poland it's Vakace. In Germany it's Urlaub. In France it's Vacances. But what's the word? Hollywood McShane looks puzzled. No change there then. And also, Chris has been on about, we got some more duck jokes, I'm afraid. What's a duck's favourite Chinese snack? Prawn quackers. Yeah, bring it on. What did the duck say when he dropped his Greatest Hits Radio mug? I hope it didn't quack. What's a duck's favourite game? Beakaboo. Why do ducks fly south in the winter? Because it's too far to waddle. Oh. And what do ducks watch on TV? Documentaries. And finally, from Chris the Truck, what time do ducks wake up? It's at the quack of dawn. Yeah, there you go. Tim's been on as well. He's got some duck jokes too. Who stole the soap? The robber ducky. What has fangs and webbed feet? Count Duckula. I think that was a TV series, wasn't it? Count Duckula. What time does a duck wake up? We've already had it, Tim, but thank you very much. And also, soon we're going to be talking to, I think it's Brian, about the 5G. David's been on, and he says, I briefly heard 5G mentioned on the show at one point. Have you heard anything about the protests in Switzerland regarding the introduction of 5G? I've linked an article for anybody that might well be interested in that. And I must have I just clicked on the article. There it is. The first report of 5G injuries in Switzerland. It's legal, but it's not safe. A Swiss doctor denounces 5G and calls for a moratorium. And loud humming, lots of pain, nausea, and no sleep. Mystery illness in Cuban and Chinese diplomats, microwave poisoning, and so it goes on. Is 5G safe or not? This article claims not. On saying that, there's a lot of other people that actually believe that it does. However, that's the case for the moment. So we'll be talking to Brian. I wonder if he's got any points to make on it. However, we always start with something that we call the blah. And an interesting thing it usually is too. So what is the blah? It is whatever's texting, whatever's trending, whatever people are talking about. And we always begin with the first newspaper front pages that you're going to get rammed, thrust hard through your letterbox tomorrow morning. The Daily Mirror. Richard Branson has paid no tax on £2 billion worth of National Health Service deals. We're hearing. I'm joined, of course, by Hollywood McShane, the evening, the legend who is. So, Tony, Branson's paid no tax on £2 billion worth of NHS
How the hell
deals.
did he manage that? Shocking.
I have no idea, but it has to be dealt with. Daily Mirror asking that question too. Sex questions you were too scared to ask. Did you ever have to ask your parents any questions about sexiness?
No, don't remember it.
Did
In school, you just got these cartoons, didn't you? So it was
cartoons, things drawn on the wall, or,
Exactly.
or copies of the Playboy you opened up at certain pages.
Yeah, there was always stuff like that in the yard.
Yeah,
wasn't there?
always. Come into the toilets, Alan. Got this to show you.
I bet it's all videos now.
Don't worry, it was a magazine.
I bet they're all showing each other videos these days.
It'll be on the phone. There's no question about it. The main headline, though, is the one that will be everywhere. Superstar death shock. Sport legend Kobe killed in copter crash. Baseball great Brian and his daughter, 13, amongst 5 dead in the horror smash. We had Sean earlier saying that it may well have gone up to 9 people now. The Times, Britain open to the world's best talent, says Johnson. However, how's it open when we're closing the borders and not encouraging people to come? Anyway, Britain's open to the world, says Boris. And UK citizens trapped in virus-hit Chinese city. Scary virus kicking about.
It is. Could wipe all out.
It could too. We've got to be careful. Are you going to wear one of them little Michael Jackson masks then?
Possibly, if it comes over here. It's not in England yet, is it? But
No, I don't think so. I know it's in Europe.
I know it's scary, isn't it?
Terrifying.
I might have to go and pop out and buy one.
Is that the only protection then?
I don't even know, because they can't cure it yet, can they? So
No,
it's
they're
pretty
working.
scary.
They're working on a cure as we speak. Daily Express, and it is scandal of 1 in 5 homes leaving sufferers at risk. Dementia patients let down by failing care. And something that you've championed on this show, Olivia Newton-John, cannabis is helping to win my cancer fight.
Amazing.
She says her breast cancer is being pushed back, she said, and it's shrinking away. So
They need more tests on the cannabis oil, don't they?
I think so, but it seems to be working for her. Stranded Brits beg to be rescued from virus crisis city. Should we go in and get them, or should we leave it a fortnight to see if they've got it?
I know. What do you do?
Or do you put them into quarantine as soon as they arrive? And how do you get them on planes? It's begging a lot of questions. The Guardian. Experts fear 100,000 people might have the new virus worldwide.
God.
That's what they're thinking. And listen to us, the Grenfell families tell the inquiry chief. It's still going on. They're still not being listened to. And the Daily Mail, 20,000 people, spring clean heroes already. It seems the Daily Mail have another cause that they want everybody to follow. Legions of you join the big litter clear-up just 48 hours after the Daily Mail's call for action. Now, I like tidy as much as the next person. But if I see some clot on the path, I pick it up and put it in the bin. I don't wait till the newspaper says, you know that clot that's outside your front door? Well, you pick it up and you put it in the bin. I really don't get it. Sports legend and daughter, aged 13, die in a helicopter fireball. You don't want to think what they went through the last few seconds of their lives. The Daily Telegraph, Huawei is a threat to the UK, to UK sovereignty, America warns. Because they're against it. The Chinese say it's not remotely politicised. It's just a company. It's not listening to you. So who do you believe? Do you believe America or China, or do you just not believe either of them?
I don't believe any of them, to be fair.
No, me neither. Would you have it, though, if it was cheap? A Huawei 5G telephone?
No, I like the iPhone.
All right, fair enough. Daily Star, there is Beyonce at the Glammys, looking...
the Glammys?
Glammys. It's the,
right.
Yeah, but she's glammed at the Grams. Minus 10 degrees set to hit Britain. Icy pest from the west. Not sure when that's coming in. Some said it was supposed to be today.
Well, the gritters were out in force when I came in.
It's an icy night, I think, confirmed. Metro newspaper, basketball legend Kobe Bryant dies in helicopter crash. There's a picture of him with his little girl, and she looks gorgeous. Trapped in Virus City, that's there as well. Financial Times, the UK is set to give Huawei the go-ahead to do the 5G network. Ignoring America, because America want to do it.
Well, maybe they want to sell us theirs. It's
do.
probably the reason behind it.
Yeah.
Let's do it ourselves. We've got BT.
And others.
And others. But that BT is probably the longest serving, telephone.
But you do have others, in fairness.
Yeah, Vodafone and...
So we should do EE.
EE.
And...
O2.
Well, there you see. There's a few. It's just...
Why can't we do our own then?
Well, I presume that was the whole point of Brexit, but no, we've got to get other people in to give them our business, but they're giving us none of their business. So that's what seems to be happening there. Okay, you got some stories for us then?
Yeah, I've got a story, and it's a mortified mum because our 5-year-old daughter took what she thought was a ring to school to give to our friend.
Right.
But when our friend showed it to our mum, who got a shock, so sent her a picture of it saying, I think your daughter's been rummaging through your stuff because she came home with a sex toy.
Oh, blimey.
I don't know where you put that. It's kind of a ring-shaped.
Oh, no, I know where you put that.
Do you?
Oh, yes.
Well, I thought it was for a man, but it was...
No, it is.
Oh, it is? Oh, well, I know where it goes.
It's for a man.
I just thought it was...
Where do you think a woman's going to put that circular thing?
Well, that's why I was wondering.
No, it's if it's what I think it is, a man puts it on his... And it looks like a ring with like a
and it must vibrate then.
A box on the top, and it vibrates.
Well, our friends...
And it twiddles the woman's... And the vibration on the woman's allows her to more quickly.
Well, a 5-year-old girl wore that on her finger for a whole day. And then, yeah, just be careful where you put your toys.
No, that is a fact. I will tell you, this is absolutely true, and Tony, if he's listening, not this Tony, another Tony from my childhood, there used to be a kid that hung around with the older kids, and he was about 2 years younger, but he was in the gang, he kind of hung out with us all, and one day he came up, and he was probably 15 at the time, and I'd be 17, and he said, Alan, can you do us a favour? And I said, yeah, if I can, what's up? He says, I need a condom. And I said, yeah, I didn't even know you were courting. He said, oh, yeah, I've been with this girl now a week, and we've both agreed that we're going to do it. But I need a condom, and I can't go into a shop. I'm only like 15-year-old and not sell me one, and I can't go into pubs. And so can you? So I went into a bar, in the machine, packet of 3, out they come, gave it to him, and off he went. Now, I didn't see him for about a week and a half, and I thought, I've done the fair thing, safe sex and all the rest of it. I thought I'd played a blinder in his regard. And he came up effing and blinding at me, saying, "What the F was that all about? You completely ruined my night." And I'm thinking, well, why? What happened? And apparently, he'd never used a condom before. And he got to that point with a woman, when it's the right moment.
Yeah.
And he got the condom out of the packet, then he unrolled it, and then he tried to put it on. Well, I don't know whether you've ever tried to do that under those circumstances. It's not going to go well. He tried it with all three, and then presumed that I'd set him up by giving him dodgy, comedy condoms. Because, again, lack of education. But I was hardly going to go there and put it on for him. Anyway, that's a separate thing. Let's crack on. Piece of music. And then a third, and you're very close to the fourth clue. And we shall speak of many things. Pick up your telephone. We're talking about first loves and all of that. Tell us the things that went wrong with you.
The voice of the North.
Alan Robson's Night Owls. The phone-in that gets you talking.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Now, another duck joke from Ian in Whitburn. He says, "Why are ducks well off? It's because they don't have bills, but they have beaks." Ian, they don't have beaks. They have bills. That's it. He's down that netty again. Blame me. He must be sponsored by Dot or Domestos or one of them. And also, Phil from Newcastle sent a message in. "Hi, Alan. It's just been revealed that 38 people have died over the last 5 years on so-called smart motorways. That's 7 a year. So can the ministers who have been approving them, despite concerns being raised year on year, be prosecuted for culpable homicide?" He says, "I thought not." That is probably the truth that they're probably not. And I'm going to give you a third clue. You get your fourth clue in about 15 minutes. Clue number 1. "Something is my first love, and it will be my last." Big hit for John Mayles. What was it called? Second clue, in Italy it's vacanze. In Poland it's vacace. In Germany it's Urlaub. In France it's vacances. What's the word? Third clue, stylish magazine on fashion, beauty and what's happening. Stylish magazine on fashion, beauty and what's happening. 3 clues down. Your fourth clue is very soon. And we promised you Brian. And here is the man. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Alan. While everybody's looking forward, well, not everybody, but most people are looking forward to Brexit on Friday, I'm more concerned about getting the results back regarding the HS2 project, because they're going to make a decision on Friday whether it's going to go ahead or not.
And where do you stand on all of this, Brian?
Alan, the HS2 project is a complete utter waste of money. So, I mean, just to get from Birmingham to London 35 minutes earlier, if you want to get there 35 minutes earlier, just simply go for an earlier train. You know what I mean? Get out of the house early and leave the house early and go for an earlier train, Yeah,
makes sense.
Makes absolute sense. The numbers we're talking about, the amounts of money in the billions, just mind-blowing, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like you're thinking, who's going to pay for all of this? And like you've just been saying, Boris Johnson's got a big decision to make with Huawei, the 5G thing, and Donald Trump's kind of snubbed him if he goes ahead with it.
Yeah.
So bang goes all them like, "Oh, hey man, you leave the European Union, we'll give you loads of trade deals." It looks like it's not going to happen if he goes behind the back.
It looks like he's doing the other way. He wants all the deals in Britain, and he wants us to pay them, but he's not really prepared to give us anything back from what it looks like. And also, if you knew the future of Britain depended on Trump, would you take that risk? Because, blimey, I'm sure.
God, nah. He should be locked up in jail, Alan. That's not the case.
Well, I mean, it's looking possible. Not necessarily when he's president, because you can't jail your president. But as soon as he stops being president, unless he goes for some kind of deal, There's a chance of that. I've just been reading through and listening to just before the show. They've got some tape that some of the Ukrainians made when they were with Trump, and there was one woman who basically said to Trump, "We're not going to look into Joe Biden's financial affairs for you. It's not the way we operate. It's not legal, and we're not prepared to do it." And Trump's going, "Get her out of here. I don't want to see her ever again. Get rid of her. And I'll not talk to the Ukrainians again until she's gone," which is messing with another country's. That's impeachment. If you had to write down, give me a good reason to impeach somebody, that's it there. Before you even start with, like, misuse of funds and, it does look as clear-cut as you can get it, I have to say.
Yeah, the thing is, Alan, obviously the House is run by the Republicans.
By them, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
They're not going to, go get... Well, apparently 4 members were going to try and, speak out, but they're all terrified of him, and I think it's going to make a mockery of the American Constitution. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if he gets away with this, other presidents in the future are going to think, well, if Donald Trump's gone, we're doing whatever, we can do the same, so it's going to make America look like a joke.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
I believe that. I believe that, absolutely. The thing is, we've just had an election, and everybody brought Boris back with a vengeance, really. And Brexit's to happen, and I presume that was probably the reason why he was brought back, because the majority of people want Brexit. If that's to be believed, we presume that's the case. And yet Boris has essentially told porkies about everything. I mean, the National Health Service, it's nothing to do with Trump, yet Jeremy Corbyn just walks away and finds a document where here he is Boris talking to Trump about it, and Boris saying, "I've never spoken to him," and he's had meetings with him about it. So...
Just wait, Alan, till we get chlorophyll chicken on my plate and GM crops. We'll be getting loads of them from America. Do you know what I mean? That'd be part of the deal. Take their GM crops and chlorophyll chicken and God knows whatever.
Yeah, apparently, you know the stuff they put in swimming pools, chlorine it's called, chlorinated things.
Yeah.
The chlorine, and we've all been in school swimming pools where they put probably too much of that in just in case anybody wheezes or poos or whatever in there. And because you can never be sure with a school swimming class, they already clean our lettuce with that. When you buy lettuce in packets, it's already been pre-washed.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I buy a lettuce looking like a lettuce rather than it's all been broken up and washed. But the washed ones apparently are chlorinated. They put chlorine on them first, and they want to do that with the chicken and meat and beef and lamb and everything else. And I don't know about you, but a bit of sauce, a bit of salt and pepper, but chlorine.
Oh no,
wouldn't be my choice.
Get the normal, I get the normal ones, Alan. The fully, the ones you have to wash yourself and I don't buy the ones in packets at all.
Yeah, but do you wash it in chlorine when you get it home? I'll put a bit of washing up liquid on, get some chemicals in there.
Oh, no, not for me, I don't think. But we're leaving the European Union, Alan, literally blind. We don't know what deals we're doing, or we're saying to you, we still want to be your friends. They've even got these silly coins that are coming out, and they've just melted down a big load of them a month ago, because obviously it was a bit of a disaster, so they've obviously melted them. You know what I mean? It costs money to get that done. I don't know, the country is just going backwards, and I just feel like now we don't know what direction we're going to be going. God help us, that's all I can say. Well, I just hope it still gets scrapped on Friday. That would make me happy. I'm not interested in ringing bells for Brexit. I'm more concerned about wasting money on a real project.
No, I absolutely get that. I'm with you on it. I don't see any point. I just see... But you see, the only thing that makes me think it'll go through is that a few politicians have been asked, will it happen? And one of them said, there's no decision to be made. It is going to happen. And the person said, well, how do you know the Prime Minister's going to make that decision in the weeks to come, which is obviously this week? And the politician said, it's just going to happen. There's too many people involved for it not to, which makes me think, have they all invested in it? Are they all going to make fortunes off the back of it? Because if you remember, when Brexit was first announced, Rees-Mogg made £7 million buying up small companies that went to the war. I mean, whoa, talk about things you shouldn't be able to do if you're an MP. You know, it's like benefit from what your party does. But I think politicians in general are a nest of vipers. But
well, Alan, you don't hear about him. He's disappeared off the scene, isn't he? He's gone. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if I'd won £7 million quid, I'd probably be off somewhere as well. Now you're not saying me till I need some more, and then I'll come back and.
Just before I go, Alan, a couple of weeks ago I mentioned to you about a band called the Analogues.
Yes.
Did you ever get any information about them? Did you?
I did. Well, I had a look online to have a look at them and have a listen to them, and I thought they were quite good. I was surprised. It wasn't the kind of music that I expected, but it was good.
I've got one of their albums here, Abbey Road Relived. If they want me to play a little bit of it, I can, for the night our listeners, have a flavour of it.
Yes, the bit. Well, go on. How you bit on?
Right. I mean,
because they're a Polish band.
Sorry,
they're a Polish band.
No, the Dutch band from the Netherlands.
Oh, Dutch band. Beg your pardon. Right.
They've only been going since 2014. I heard them on your sister station Radio City when they did a concert in Liverpool, back in 2016, and I've been hooked since.
Gotcha.
I've just queued them up for you, Alan.
Okay, just
let the night owls have a flavour because they are brilliant. This is Abbey Road Relived.
Right.
The album.
Okay. Now, we're going to leave it there, but it sounds like they can do it. The Analogues. I had a look at them, some of their YouTube videos as well. They look the absolute business. Dutch tribute act to the Beatles. But we say thank you to Brian anyway for coming on. Appreciate his time. Now, we promised you that we were going to have sessions on the show, and we have a session for you tonight. Right, it is now time for me to announce the fourth clue. What links all of these answers together? The first clue is my first love and it will be my last. Hit for John Miles, but what was it called? Second clue, in Italy it's vacanza. In Poland it's vacace. In Germany it's Urlaub. In France it's vacances. What is it? Third clue, a stylish magazine on fashion, beauty and what's happening. And the fourth clue, the song Let It Go comes from this movie. The song Let It Go comes from this movie. You've got 4 clues now. If you know the answer, give us a ring right now on 0191 488 3188. Get calling right now if you can link those 4 answers together. Give it a crack. Let's have a try on that. Also, some messages on Facebook. Lucy Stotty says, we love Alan Robson. I won the cash track when I was 7 and will always remember it. I broke my leg at 6 and I saw you in the Metro Centre and you signed my cast. I was starstruck. Legend. Claire Cantrell. Hi, Alan. We're listening whilst we're packing for our holiday. Claire and Kevin from Tenerife. Here we come. Dennis Morgan saw my love across a crowded bar. Took fee year and married 41 years. Margaret is at home and I'm in Sunderland Royal College with kidney failure and infection. Oh, blimey. Love and missing her. If she gets a mention, please play it well after 11. Oh, it's certainly that. Rachel Louise Johnson. My first kiss with my now husband. We've been together 19 years. Will Lynch. Alan, give us a shout, man. Ho! I will. And Alison Biscuit, my first kiss was in year 6 of primary on Valentine's Day. Nice little peck on the lips. Then I was handed a card and a rose. It was very, very sweet. Can you remember his name, though? That's the question. Because we're told you never forget your first. Is it really true? Who was the first one, you think, to snog? Jean from Reckinston. Hello, Jean. Hello.
Oh, yeah, bloody disease over there.
Who was the first one to snog you, Jean?
Oh, this your lad, this lad.
This lad.
This lad. Not much anything.
Was he older than you, younger than you?
Not the one with me.
Did he give you a peck, or did he stick his tongue in like a little ferret?
He didn't, no.
No? Because that's what they do, you know, Jean.
Love,
Tell you, nowadays, gotta be careful.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
No, but she's along the sea going to strangle us. No,
Hang on, he said he was gonna kiss you and dangle it.
No, he's gonna strangle us.
He said he was gonna dangle it.
No. Oh,
what was he gonna dangle, Jean?
He was gonna choke us.
He was gonna
after us.
Choke you? What was he putting in your mouth?
No. He was gonna choke with his hands.
Oh, he was gonna choke you with his hands.
I ran away from him. I ran away.
But he was your first kisser. Oh, what an awful first kisser. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, he may be listening now thinking, she was the best love of my life, that one. Because you missed out on our Jean. That's the thing. So he didn't dangle anything?
No.
Right. He just nearly choked you.
Did I?
That's horrible.
Stupid, man.
That's awful.
I ran away and I just
Right. That's terrible.
No more.
No
more.
You had no more after that.
No more. Him and the
How did you have children if you didn't kiss anybody else?
Oh, stupid fella, and then stupid dad.
Right.
Like I am.
He was a cracker.
Oh,
Oh, that's no good.
punches in the eye, only coming up.
Really? Blimey, what a life you've had.
Yeah, I know.
Gene, there should be a film made of your life.
Oh,
They should, I tell you. I'd go and see it, definitely.
no. No, I don't talk about thing there. I want to hear nothing about that.
No?
Married now, I'm happy though.
Well, that's good. Good to know.
At the bed, I'm going to say that when she bought one to Tillystones, so they had a pizza, then has some chicken, risotto, that has a championship.
No, that sounds good.
They were eating everything. Oh, she was funny. You know that shark song? She was jumping up and down to that. You know the shark song? Daddy shark, shark, shark.
Yeah.
And she was jumping up and doing like that with my hands. Oh, it was lovely.
Were you not up for Mummy and Daddy Shark?
No, I just Ben was filming it.
All right.
Mum was filming it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's calling me.
Yeah, it's nice.
Hey, love.
It's an awful song, but it's nice to see
I
Ben's
know.
enjoying it. Yeah.
Hey, love. Okay.
So I suppose you can do the
What?
Gangnam Style, though, can
The
you?
what?
Gangnam Style.
The what?
Gangnam Style.
Gangnam, what's that?
It was the dance that everybody was doing before the Shark song.
Gangnam, what's that?
Yeah, Gangnam. You've never heard Gangnam Style?
No?
Okay, well, it was a very big hit, and it was like you were dancing but riding a horse at the same time.
That.
You remember it.
I don't remember. I don't know about.
You never learned the moves or anything?
No.
Right.
Nah. It's that. No, Mayfair. We go to Mayfair.
Uh-huh.
It's a big checker. That's just again.
Wow.
Like we did last year. That's the Mayfair.
And did you twist again?
Yes, we did.
Excellent.
The big checker had candy there. Had a party there, no?
Uh-huh.
We had a party.
It was great, the Mayfair.
Did
We all loved the Mayfair.
You went there one. I come down, there was nobody there. I came down.
When?
When you had I don't know what year it was. We were at the Mayfair.
All right, yeah, we had a very belated Night Owls party there, and we had about, I think it was about 500 people.
And I went there, and there's no place was shut. I don't know what did it was, yeah.
It was obviously the day after we'd been there.
What?
You just get the wrong day, or what happened?
Maybe getting the wrong day, I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, that's why nobody was there.
Oh,
but
man.
but anyway, hey, who?
In all the parties, though. We all the rest of the parties,
I know that absolutely. You're a loyal, steadfast, and true, Jean, with no question. Do you want to say hello to anybody then?
Hello,
hello.
Let's say hello to Anne Jones. She's very in bed.
Right, she is. That's right. Yeah.
But she gets some of my best wishes. Hello to Linda. She's getting that call back.
Lovely.
Hello to Angela. Hello to what's it called? Richard
Clary, yeah.
And hello to Richard from Westerhope. Where's he now?
I've no idea. We haven't heard from him for a while.
I know. I've still got his money there.
Right.
I'll give him it back.
Right. Well, when he crops up, I'll remind him. Don't worry about it. Okay.
I've got a copy of your name on, Alan.
Yeah.
It's got your name on.
Oh, that's nice.
It's got a legend on the box.
Uh-huh.
I've got it downstairs, peacocks. I've got a little pen, a gold pen, Jennifer, and little stones on it.
That's a sweet thing.
Thank you. It down to you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you for that. That's very sweet. Very kind.
You will.
Thank you. Anything else then, Jean?
I'm going to say, well, we made to book up to go to the Pendle Witches.
The Pendle. Are you going to join up?
Because nurses could take it up there in the bus.
Oh, right. Okay.
Having a small shape.
You're going to do a black magic ritual on the mountainside?
No.
No?
It's just a
Because you've got to do them sky-clad, you know.
You go what?
Sky-clad.
What is that?
Means you got to take all your clothes off.
No, you don't.
It is. That's what you do when you're doing a black magic ritual up a mountain.
Don't say that.
That's what the Pendle Witches had to do.
Oh, well, they had to not.
Yeah, sky-clad.
There's a museum or something. There's a museum.
There is a little museum at the bottom of Pendle Hill, but the walk up Pendle Hill's a hell of a hike. I was quite surprised, but the museum down at the bottom of it's quite interesting, so you'll enjoy it. Hey, well, have fun, Jean.
I'll see you later.
Take care, darling. Bye-bye. Bye, Jean. And, right, we have Terry, I think, who is the Geordie poet on the line. We've got to go over there. Hi, Terry.
Hi.
Hello, mate. What you got for us tonight, then?
Who's that?
It's Alan.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, mate. What you got for us tonight, then, Terry?
I've got you the Courting Days.
Oh, wonderful. That's the name of the poem. Let's have it, then.
This is take you back to where you lived.
Good man.
The Courting Days of Bamble, when the skies were always blue, with a lassie on me arm, I could find lots to do. I took her to the picture, put my arm around her in the dark. I got in fish sticklebacks down at Leisure Park. We'd make jam and Hoover sandwiches, or sometimes just make toast. With a bottle of water in the carrier, we catch the train down to the coast. With me chest sticking like a pigeon, I'd lie upon the sand. She'd let us kiss and cuddle her, and sometimes slap me hand. If my mother could have seen that, I had got a throttle, but I'd just laughed and lay there, something floated from the bottle. When my hair cracked in with blood cream, I lay against her chest. She said this boyfriend would always be, that his boyfriend is the best. But I'm well full of stop with it when she put blood cream on her vest.
Excellent, Terry. That's brilliant. You're so right. If you did have a girlfriend, you did walk around with your chest stuck out like a pigeon. You're quite right. Wonderful stuff, Terry. Bless you, man. Thanks for coming on. How good was that? Amazing. Going to take a quick break, and I think we've got a little bit of something special for you. You're on the end of this.